Everyone, welcome back. So we're going to continue on with the prospect pool overviews with the Montreal Canadiens. And Canadiens fans are actually kind of lucky because this is kind of like a Canadiens weekend. We got this video today on Montreal. Then we got a rookie review on Juraj Slavkovsky tomorrow. So Habs fans, you have a lot to stay tuned for coming from the channel this weekend. And we will also be in the original setup tomorrow as well, thankfully. So anyways, Montreal, their prospect pool, and they've been developing this for the past couple of years. Their pool's looking pretty good. It really is. I like their pool a lot. Some young, solid, fast forwards, good guys on the blue line, and their goalie, we'll get into him in a second here. But nonetheless, let's start off here with Joshua Waugh, a wing/center from St. George's de Beauce, Canada, 6 foot, 187 pounds, a two-time World Junior 20 winner, one of the more underrated prospects in the league, a guy that's easily forgotten about. I believe I've even forgot about him in my top 50 prospects. Definitely a guy there who's one of the more underrated prospects in the entire league. Drafted 150th overall in 2021, and he had himself a pretty good year with the Sherbrooke Phoenix in the QMJHL read. 55 games played, 46 goals, 53 assists for 99 points. Obviously, the Q is weaker than the other Quebec Major Junior Leagues or the other CHL leagues. But regardless, Waugh, I think, had a good year with Sherbrooke. A fifth-round gem. He has great hockey sense, and he's obviously the average size there as well, which is a good player to have on your roster for sure. So yeah, Joshua Waugh I've seen be hyped up by a lot of Habs players and prospects. So overall, definitely one of the better guys in their system. And the hope is he will take that jump to the American Hockey League this coming season. Fifth-round picks obviously probably take a little bit longer to get there. So he's still a ways away before we see him make his jump to the NHL. Next up, then, you have Sean Farrell, a center/left wing from Milton, USA. 5'9", 174 pounds. He was a USHL champion in 2021. So Farrell there. It's good to have that in your resume for sure. Drafted 124th overall in 2020, so another gem there. Another guy they selected late in the 2020 draft, and it's turned out pretty good for him. He played 6 games with the Canadiens this season, so he has made the jump to the NHL. And 34 games this past year with Harvard, he had 20 goals, 33 assists for 53 points. So good numbers there from a Harvard University guy. Yet again, as I mentioned, another gem, good hockey sense, can handle the puck very well, has a good shot, and definitely a guy who likely will spend the majority, if not all of next season in the American Hockey League is really what's expected out of him. I believe he is done with Harvard now since that has happened. So Sean Farrell there, one of the guys who will make the jump to the Laval Rockets next season. And finally, a guy on your forward core is Filip Mesar, a right wing from Spišská Bela, Slovakia, 5'10", 176 pounds. He was drafted 26th overall in 2022, so obviously a nice pick there. In 52 games played this past year with the Kitchener Rangers, the OHL Rangers, not the NHL Rangers. He had 17 goals, 34 assists for 51 points. Not bad there. He is undersized, which is probably why it's a little bit harder for him to score offense in the OHL. But nonetheless, still a skilled forward and a guy who can handle the puck very well. Definitely a good guy to have on the Habs roster for sure. And yeah, they selected Mesar in 2022, the year where they selected Juraj Slavkovsky. It is expected for Mesar to spend the entire year in the American Hockey League if he makes the jump this season. It's expected for all these guys to probably stay in the AHL. Waugh, Farrell, and Mesar. It's expected for all three of them to probably stay with the Laval Rocket this coming season. So it's going to be a pretty good year in Laval, I'm not going to lie. Especially if this guy, David Reinbacher, makes the jump as well. He is a defenseman from Hohems, Austria. So we don't talk about too many Austrians, but still a good player. 6'2", 194 pounds. Drafted 5th overall in 2023. And I know, and when he was drafted, because it was a few weeks ago, there was that massive controversy. Oh, you should have picked Michkov, you should have picked Leonard, you should have picked such and such. It's not horrible. It's not a bad move. And look, you look at these forward prospects, you got Waugh, Farrell, and Mesar. Yes, it'd be nice to have like a Michkov or a Leonard in there. But still, nonetheless, I think it's good to have a guy like Reinbacher there because their defense is loaded. Their defense is really good. And Reinbacher, a really good defensive and offensive defenseman there too. He can play both sides. So definitely a guy there who is going to be really good for your roster. So honestly, I don't see how it's going to be too bad. And he was probably the best defenseman in that draft. So not bad at all acquiring him. In 46 games played this past year with EHC Clotin, which is the NL Swiss League, he had 3 goals, 19 assists for 22 points. Not bad stats there as a defenseman. He's listed as having rock-solid defense, so a good guy to have there on your defense. And I've seen things saying that he's going to play NHL time. There probably could, but there isn't. It wouldn't be a bad move either if he were to just go down to Laval and play down in Laval with the Rockets. So, nonetheless, good guy to have in your pool for sure. But this guy, Lane Hudson, might be one of the best defensive and offensively defender prospects we've seen in a long time. That was horribly phrased. But a defender from Holland, USA. He's 5'10", 161 pounds. Drafted 62nd overall in 2022. And this past year at Boston University, he had an unbelievable year. 39 games played, 15 goals, 33 assists for 48 points. Those are good numbers for a forward, and you're a defenseman putting up those numbers. So definitely really good stats there from Lane Hudson for sure. Listed as being a great deker, has awesome offensive drive and upside as well, but still has some solid defensive capabilities to his game as well. So a guy who can play well on both ends of the ice, argued as the perfect defender there. And hey, Hudson and Reinbacher, that could be the next big pairing in Montreal. Of course, if they're both left and right D respectively. Finally, their goalie, and I tried looking for another goalie prospect, but I really couldn't pass up on Caden Primo. I am shocked that, all these years since he was drafted, he's still technically a prospect. He was looked at to be one of the better goalies and was going to be one of the better goalies up there with Price and Patty Waugh, I've seen, and Ken Dryden. But now there's a little bit more question because he's taken a little bit longer than others to develop. He's played games with Montreal up and down the system, but he's never really fully established himself in the National Hockey League. A goalie from Farmington Hill, USA, 6'3", 203 pounds, U18 World Junior Gold winner in 16-17. So that was a while ago. That was before I was even into hockey. So that's way before my time. I'm not 7 years old, but way before I got into hockey. He was drafted 199th overall in 2017. So 2017. We're seeing goalies from 2018 starting to make their mark. So it's pretty shocking there to see a guy like Primo taking this long to get to that development stage in the NHL. And in 41 games played this past year with the Rocket, it wasn't bad stats, but it was still 19, 15, and 6, a 3.04 goals against average, and a .909 save percentage. Yeah, I'd say he's more of a questionable guy on that in that crease for Montreal right now, for being honest. But, of course, he's still got time to develop. The Habs are in really no rush to be a playoff team, and they won't be this coming year. I'm sorry, they will be competitive, but they won't be a playoff team. They're still a ways away before all those guys start making those big steps to the NHL. Other prospects that are in the pool, you got Owen Beck, defensive Nicholas Biodin, forward Riley Kidney, forward Oliver Kapanen, and forward Jesse Olovin. Is another guy there. So that is your prospect pool overview for the Montreal Canadiens. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and down below. I greatly appreciate it. We have, I think, less than 10 teams left, but we're still going to try and roll through all of them before the regular season starts. But anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.